Hello, my name is Sri. Today I'm talking about a short talk on news. Number one, first, the speaker announced the Central Water Authority advised all residents that day to use less water. And finally, he explained because there were very little water in the reservoir, and the rain was not expected for weeks. Number two, first, the speaker announced a patient at the city hospital had received the holiday gifts that day, and that he said children from a local school had distributed presents to many of the patients, and that he suggested keeping in the spirit of the holiday season. And finally, he said the doctors and the nurses had been given a present as well. Number three, first, the speaker announced the computer magazine had reported that day that the California computer company had announced the entry of the new computer. Next said the computer was smaller and faster than all the computers currently on the market. And finally, he said business travelers would find it very useful. Number four, first, the speaker announced all banks and public offices were closed that day because of the heavy snowfall. Next, he said schools were also closed and would remain closed until next week. And finally, he said malls were closed, so residents were advised to stay at home. Number five, first, the speaker announced Malaysia and Canada had signed a cultural exchange agreement that day. And that is that the cultural minister of both countries had attended a concert after the signing. That is that the countries would exchange artists, orchestra and dance group, and drama groups were not included in the cultural agreement. And finally, he hoped the new trade agreement would follow. Number six, first, the speaker announced the president had left that week on a 2-week tour of Asia. Next, he said he would meet with the head of the state of 5 different countries. And next, he commented that were president's first foreign tour since he had taken office. And finally, he said his wife was accompanying him on the trip. Number seven, first, the speaker announced traffic were stopped for more than 4 hours the day before because of an accident. Next said a car hit a bus on the state street at about 5:30 p.m. and 3 bus passengers had been taken to the hospital. Finally, he said police closed 2 blocks of State Street until 9:45 and directed traffic to Main Street. Number 8, first, the speaker announced thousands of people had gone downtown the morning before to see the annual National Day parade. Nat said the parade was led by the newly elected mayor and her family. Following the parade, the public enjoyed an afternoon of free concerts in the city park. Finally, she said, nice weather and great music made it a pleasant day for all. Number 9, further speaker announced an increase in sales tax had been announced the day before, and Nat said the tax would go up from 5% to 7%. Nat said some store owners fear that would cause people to buy fewer things. Farley said the new sales tax would go into effect next month. Number 10, the speaker said the new high-speed train service to the nation's capital began the day before. Next said passengers said that they prefer taking the train because it was more convenient than plane. And Next commented, he commented 3 trains a day leave from the downtown train station for the capital. And finally, he said the trip took 2 hours and 45 minutes by train, but only 1 hour by plane. Number 11, the speaker announced the United Nations had appealed to its membership that day for an additional $20 million to buy more trucks and spare parts to speed distribution of supply to the victims of East Africa's famine. Next, he said the food and medicine donated by the government were piling up at the port, and the United Nations spokespeople say that if the food could not be moved to approximately 10.8 million famine victims, distribution of grain would be cut in half within 3 months. Number 12, the speaker announced Japan's high savings rate were draft on the Japanese economy and on the rest of the world as well. Next said for decades the high savings pattern provided is inexpensive investment funds to business, which have spurred Japan's high economic growth. But there was a downside to the high savings pattern. There were the scarcity of consumer loans. Further, high saving rates reduce the value of the yen on the international market. Finally, said that it spent Japan's trade surplus, which in turn caused protectionist pressure in other countries. Number 13, the speaker announced the Kenyan Minister of Trade paying an unannounced visit to UNR the week before for talks with its president. Nash said they had improved trade relations between two countries over the last 6 months. Nash said, finally, he said commercial affairs had dominated the attention of the respective embassies here since the first trade pacts were signed last January. Thanks for listening.